So welcome everyone to the Fundamentals of Skateboard Judging webinar. This is our episode 2, and today we're gonna focus on the processes and mechanics of actual judging. And I would like to welcome here my host of today's episode, my dear friend, Olympic judge, and a long-time skateboarder, Alexis Jauzion from France. Hello, Alexis.
Hello, Martin. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so just to introduce myself, I've been skateboarding for like 30 years. Been involved in different types of competitions along the way. I've been judging many competitions for 20 years at international level, and I've been judging the last Olympics in Tokyo for park style.
Wow, very impressive. And I'm super happy to have you here and helping me and helping us to transfer the knowledge and educate our aspiring judges on the practical tips and all that knowledge that it's needed when judging an event. All right, so let's dive into it. I will share our presentation. We have a lot of topics to go through today, very interesting stuff, a lot of information, and let's start with the first one. So, with the Olympics, first Olympics in the skateboarding history being completed, and also on the way to Tokyo, we've seen a lot of things changed in a competitive environment for skateboarding. Maybe it's good to explain a little bit what changed and how does it look today compared to the regular skateboard events of the past, and compare the differences between the sanctioned competitive environment and the events from the private sector. So, Alex, maybe can you describe what, from your perspective, changed in skateboarding?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So until the first qualification period for Tokyo Olympics, most of the skateboard competitions were promoted and generated by private companies, by private ventures. So there weren't any components of national or international sanction events. So nowadays it's totally different, you know, because if we look at the sanction events and the qualification events for the Olympics and the international circuit, it's much more serious, obviously. The results that the judges are generating after a competition can have really strong consequences on people's lives.
Yeah, and I realized that because skateboarders, they are no longer representing just themselves, right? They are at
Exactly.
these events representing their countries of origin and their teams and, you know, everyone who lives in the country. So it is becoming a little bit more serious. It's still fun, it's still skateboarding, but there's a lot of people involved in what you see.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Let's
yeah,
put
that's
it
what
this way. I mean, nowadays you get people that are competing in a sanctioned event. They're coming as a team. They have a coach, or they have staff around them. So basically, the results of the competition are impacting these people's lives pretty much, and it can be harming them if the results are not corresponding to the reality of the competition. And it can change people's life. Some people can lose their job, or some people can, some skaters, some athletes can also not have the same chances to represent and their sponsors and get their deal with their sponsors afterwards, or just be a part of the national team.
Okay, so basically judges really have to do their job seriously, take it seriously, and be on point because they are really potentially changing the lives of the people they are judging.
Yeah, and they need to deliver fair results at the end.
Okay, makes sense. So let's look on the next topic. What are the desired character and other qualities of a skateboard judge? With what we have just discussed, how serious it is and how much it could impact the lives of people involved, starting from the athletes themselves, their coaches, teams, and also the impression on the people in the nations they represent. What should we look for and what should the judges have before entering this environment?
Okay, so first, the judges should have an active or passive experience in skateboarding. That's really important. They can't have the knowledge out of just watching videos. They need to be skaters themselves. They need to
Okay.
understand what is the act of skateboarding, what is the relationship between the skater and the sport, between, and also it's also a plus if they have been competing themselves, because they understand the rules of a competition in skateboarding, and they can relate to that when they're going to do their job as a judge. They also work as a team, so they have this responsibility not just for them but for the other people that work with them. That's really important. They can have an opinion on the skateboarding they're watching and the athletes they're scoring, but they can't have a personal approach on that. So they need to be really neutral on the way they are judging and they are evaluating the skaters. And obviously, as I said, the team spirit is important, because as a teamwork for the judges panel, you can help or being helped by other judges to make sure you deliver the right score and the right notes. They need also to self-reflect on their job and what they're able to do.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
say
true.
for
Because
let's say
everyone can make a mistake, right? Even having
exactly.
an opinion and being too stubborn to hold for it when all your colleagues with the same experience kind of telling you, hey man, maybe you are wrong. That's also what you
It's
say.
a smart move. It's a smart move in general, not only for a judge, but it's a smart move to recognize that you were wrong, and to be like, well, I've been wrong, and I understand where I did that mistake, and I'm able to correct it, and I'm able to self-reflect on the job that I just delivered. And obviously, they need to be really professional. They
Yes.
need to showcase. When we look at this picture, for example, you can see that if someone is drinking a beer, or there's someone in the back of these judges that doesn't look like one of the judges, but is looking at the notes or is looking at the process of judging.
Or
That's not
texting on
really
the
the
phone.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's not the best environment, and that doesn't reflect the professionalism that needs to be applied when
And
you're a judge.
it also sends the wrong message to the athletes, in my opinion, because
Exactly.
nothing is worse than being a skater who just did a trick of his life and he looks up and see the judging panel not paying attention to him,
That's
because
terrible.
that's the worst thing, at least for
Yeah,
me.
it is.
Not being respected, not being provided the attention that you deserve as a competing athlete.
That's terrible. And
Okay.
I will add one more thing, and especially for the sanctioned events and the international events, which are really demanding in terms of attention for the judges. That they need to be able to work under a high level of pressure, because
Yeah.
they need to be on point, they need to be on time, and to deliver all these results and all these scores for a long day of judging skateboard qualification competitions. It is really stressful.
I can imagine that. And I also know that, for example, running an event outdoors represents a high level of risks. So every delay counts. And it's a lot of stress on the people because TV cameras are on, the TV broadcast, and the riders are waiting, and it piles up, it accumulates together. And having this on your shoulders it's not for everyone.
And it
So
costs money. It costs money at the end, because if you have some delays due to the rain or due to any unexpected weather, you might have to add another day, and it's another lot of money that you're putting on the table for the promoter of the event. So
yeah,
there's a lot of consequences.
you are absolutely right. So for all the judges, the tip is like be responsible and have all these other virtues and qualities that you just described, because it reflects on many things throughout the process and throughout the events. All right. This was good. Thank you very much, Alexei. And now it's time for moving to another important topic, the ideal age for skateboard judges. We, in the episode 1 of our webinar, explained the requirements for the World Skate International Judging Certification Program and the candidates who are aspiring to become such certified judges. And one of them, of course, was the age. So let's talk a little bit more about it. On this slide, you could see that the World Skate International judges are active skateboarders between the age of 18 and 50 years, with a deep knowledge of the sport and its judging techniques. So let's talk a little bit more about that and explain why this regulation is there.
Well, it's pretty simple. If you're too young, you just might not have enough experience. You don't
Hmm.
you don't see everything that can be seen, and you have your appreciation of skateboarding at a young age, and you might miss something. And it's also compares to the age of the participants, of the athletes competing. If you're too young, you might lacking some credibility towards the people
Hmm.
you're judging, because you might be judging some people that are much more experienced than you, even if they are 24, 26, or around the mid 20s, and they have the knowledge that you're not having yet. So that's really important. um, it can be that some people are really good at judging when they're young,
Hmm.
but they need to practice, and they
Yes,
need to.
this is something that I
Yeah.
think more like when I was young, it was really hard to stay focused, especially being a skateboarder for a long time and pay attention to details. And in my opinion, you need to be used to that. And when you are very young, it is very hard to stay focused. And also, like you said, and this is very important, to be relevant and credible in the eyes of the older peers and skateboarders that you are judging.
Yeah,
So,
this is the base. The credibility is also one of the basics, and even before sanctioned events, and when skateboarding was more, with judges that used to be part of, the business, the skateboard industry, there used to be a certain age uh, for this group of judges, and it wasn't like the youngest.
okay, make complete sense. Now, let's talk a little bit about the higher age, the maximum age. Why do you think it's important?
Well, the first thing is skateboarding is evolving really fast. We
Hmm.
don't know, what's going to be the future of skateboarding in 2 years, 5 years. There's still a lot. It's infinite. We don't know what's going to be the level. The progression is super strong.
Yes,
So
that's very true.
you need to be connected with that progression.
Hmm.
And obviously, if you're a bit too old, and you're having your life, you're having your job, it's sometimes not so easy to be relevant towards the new generation of skaters, of athletes, that
Hmm.
you're going to touch, that you're going to evaluate. These competitors, these young competitors, nowadays, some of them, and we've seen it in Tokyo, in the Olympics, some of them that won medals there, they were under 15 years old.
Hmm.
And there's a gap between a 15 years old competitor that is getting a medal in the Olympics, and a judge that is 50 plus, and is judging, maybe 2 or 3 events in the year, is not really connected to what's happening in skateboarding, what are the current standards of the level of tricks, etc. So
Yeah,
that's
and
really
I also think like you know, like it's comes with the age that the kind of the criteria or the optics that you use looking at what's difficult and what's possible, you know, in skateboarding changes with time and with the progression. And
it
from
is.
my personal experience, uh, I would say that what is hard for some of our peers and fellow skateboarders, it's completely normal for the younger generation. And, you know, looking like you said, for the top global athletes that are basically early teenagers, what's difficult for them was almost impossible for us when we were skating at their
That's
age.
exactly this.
And I also think that you know, because of the skateboarding history and uh, the the situation that actually being a skateboard judge was never a professional position. There was no one who could do just skateboard judging. Everybody had to have a work or job somewhere else, or they
Yeah,
do it in the spare time.
it's a part-time job. It has been a part-time job. So it's either you passionate and you're connected, or you do it from time to time, and it happens that you're not that connected and you don't see everything.
Yeah,
And
and
then for example, you see a trick for the first time during a competition, and you're like, wow, that is amazing. I've never seen that before, because you haven't seen the previous post of the past 3 months of all the kids that do this trick in the streets.
exactly. And you know, like for you, it might be the most amazing trick, but for the skater, well, that's just another hard trick that I do, but it's not like the hardest.
Exactly.
Or when we said like staying within the scene and keep the progression monitored, so to say, and be aware of it requires time. And I think that the judges,
It does.
you know, the older they get, they have other obligations and commitments in their life. They might have families and they can simply not dedicate the full time that it's needed to be the most accurate and relevant in judging the top highest level of the sanctioned events.
Mhm. Totally.
Okay, that
You're
makes
right.
perfect sense. And I think we can move to the next topic.
Let's go.